Welcome to the Lockbox. I'm Donna Odidison with RE/MAX Professionals.
And I'm Kim Pottinger with RE/MAX Professionals.
And today we're going to take a deep dive behind the scenes in what it takes to become a realtor. Whether you are new or you have just been in the business for a couple of years, this episode is for you.
BTS.
Today we want to cover some of the misconceptions that are in real estate, mastering the time management, building high value relationships, and of course thriving during slow periods. Kim, let's start by addressing some of the biggest misconceptions in real estate.
Key misconceptions that you need to know everyone to succeed and have a plethora of available clients at your beck and call to move things forward and have a successful career. I do think that the reality is it's not about how many people you know, but how you can build relationships with the ones that you do know, and how they need to know that you're a realtor and you want to provide value with information and how-tos and moving things forward if they need any information in real estate.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. There's also the misconception of closing the deal, that you have to close every single deal, right?
Can't close every single deal.
Why?
Well, because sometimes the stars aren't aligned. I guess it depends on what you call a deal as well. Like a lot of times, if you don't get the house, there'll always be another house. Some buyers are worried that in this day and age when there's a lot of there's not a lot of inventory and there's a lot of offers, sometimes you don't get the deal. And that means for 10 offers, you have 9 buyers that don't get the house. So those deals aren't closing. However, there'll always be another house.
That is true. So how do you set your clients up for success in a situation like that?
Well, it depends on a number of factors, with it being budget. Are we going in over our heads right from the beginning? Sometimes we need to gauge our expectations and manage those expectations with our clients to understand what they're pre-approved for, and that's half the battle when it becomes a competitive market environment with offers.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I definitely talk about managing expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that they understand that maybe this isn't the house for you, whatever your beliefs are, maybe there's something that's not making this the one in those types of situations, because it's devastating for people when they start to see themselves in a house, right? And then all of a sudden they don't get that.
Yeah. Absolutely. You can get too emotionally involved too quick. You got to kind of manage those expectations and the emotions for your clients on their behalf, and you can only do that by listening to their needs, helping them through each and every step of the way. So that's one of the common misconceptions of offers in a competitive environment like we are right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. That does become really tough, and as realtors, some people don't realize how we're kind of psychologists, right? We're always managing their feelings, because it really is an emotional business for us as well as for the clients, right?
Yeah.
So we have to stay kind of even keel so that we can help them in that situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I would say another area is time management. It's something that I find everyone struggles with in their career, especially mid-career. When you're starting, you don't have lots of things that you have to manage per se in terms of time, but as you keep going, as you get further into your career, you really want to make sure that you're doing things like time blocking and whatnot. And I find that there's lots of talk on that, but really hard to do, right?
Hard to do.
So what do you think? Like, what do you do?
Well, one of the big things that I've done in the last year, because I'm in my 3rd year of real estate, and my last year is really where I've honed into the 80-20 rule.
Okay.
The 80-20 rule, 80% of the activities are busy activities. 20% of the activities are actually business growth activities. And so understanding what your 20% of your activities that give you 80% of the results are is key to your business, especially in real estate. In every business, it is an 80-20 rule that goes across the board. However, in real estate, I do think that is one of the big things that we have to focus on as agents, the busier we get.
It's totally true. So you just figured that out within your 3rd year?
Within my 3rd year. Well, I knew about it, but I didn't really apply it.
So what made you start to apply that?
There's just so many things. There's too many things to do. And when you look at growing your business and leveling up and potentially hiring additional help or an assistant, you need to know which activities to hand off or that you need support in. And without knowing what those are that drain you or that take up more of your time, then I think you have to have a clear understanding of what those are in order to hand them off. So you got to kind of do the job for the first year or two, and then once you get your, I don't know,
Feet wet, so
feet wet, yeah.
And
it's helpful.
Okay, that's super good. I love that, and I am also a firm believer in the 80-20 rule. I'm also thinking about theme days. You know, something like maybe on, or if not theme days, theme parts of days. So like Mondays you're prospecting, Fridays you're doing client check-ins, different stuff like that, right? Because like you said, there's a lot of busy work, so there's all the stuff behind the scenes, and you want to make sure your clients always feel like you're connecting with them and whatnot, and it's easy for things to slip between the cracks when you're always out doing showings and stuff like that. So have you ever tried anything like that?
I'd say yes and no. I'm not very successful when it comes to doing the different things every day. I like routine. I'm a routine girl. I'm structured. I do time blocking. I find there's a lot of success when I do that. I block days or afternoons for appointments, showings, block Saturday or Sunday, and tend to use mornings for emails and follow-ups and
so that's
that
the
kind of
themes.
thing.
It's just not
it's just not days. It's more like the same thing every day with the potential of mixing in lunches and client
wrong
meetings,
with a lunch.
you know?
Yeah, fair. I think what you just said is something that everyone needs to remember. You got to know yourself, right? Kim said she's a routine person. So your past is very indicative of your future.
Absolutely.
And so wherever you came from, whatever your industry was, you have certain key things about yourself that you may not even realize yet that you have to take with you in that new career. And so for you, I guess that's making sure that you time block and stuff like that, right? And knowing the routine so that you feel like you're accomplishing something.
Absolutely.
That's fair?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Then there's a lot of technologies too, right? Like doing the CRMs. Do you use your CRM? Am I putting you on the spot with that one?
CRMs are important as you level up and as you grow your business. So I've, again, in my third year, honed a little bit more time and routine into my CRM. So I do time block and I do weekly updates. I probably should do daily updates. But I do my updates weekly, and then I block that time. So if I don't get it done on Fridays, when I do have that time blocked and a customer or client requires a showing or a listing appointment or whatever the case may be, I can move that to a weekend because it's easy to kind of sit on the couch and update my database or whatever the case may be. But it is very important to keep it up because if you can automate those workflows going forward, you can also scale your business and level up. And so that is where I'm getting into my CRM is once you put all the stuff in, well, now it can start working for you. And that's
using automation.
Yeah, using automation and the workflows. Yeah.
Awesome. So like
KV Core is what I use, and it does have a ton of workflows that are available within it. I have not capitalized on all that yet. I will at some point in my future, because that's kind of one of my goals for 2025.
Nice. Yeah, there's lots of different automation stuff within KV Core and then outside of it, right? Like I just recently learned about Zapier. That's a really cool one. Not paid advertisement, by the way.
No.
But very, very cool in terms of being able to just add to the workflow and stuff like that. Yeah, I've learned some really cool stuff, so I would like to delve more into that because time is not something we get back, right? So if we can do it faster, easier, why not?
And you do it once, and then it sets it up for you to succeed going forward.
100%. That's the goal. And you know, I know you're saying that in your third year you're doing this more, but I believe if you guys start all of this stuff in the very, very beginning, you might only have like 2 people in that database and going, well, what the heck's the point of this CRM? But if you start in the beginning and then you keep working your way through, you're going to succeed, and then you're always going to have that you're building that habit right away, I guess, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to waiting until you have the perfect database, which is something that we all kind of do. We're like, well, I only have like 5 people, so I don't really need it, right?
But
like,
it is practice, and it is routines, and it is doing those things and creating best practices for your business.
Yeah. Cool.
even if you're in your first year and you don't have a CRM and you don't want to spend the money on a CRM or it's not included in your brokerage, then you can use an Excel spreadsheet, but keep the information. Don't just put everything in your contacts on your phone, because that's not necessarily going to help your business long-term scale up.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Very good. Very, very good tip. Okay. Now, 2025 so far is looking like it's going to be a crazy year, borderline 2021 kind of year. However, we are very early in the year, so we do not know that that is in fact true. So do not hold me to that if the market does change. But in every good time, there's also slow times, right? So a big thing too is figuring out how we're supposed to thrive in those slow times, right? So how do you find that you stay productive when it's a little bit slower?
Well, there's a lot of tools that we have as realtors that, for instance, the Winnipeg Regional Real Estate Board puts out webinars, typically on a weekly or bi-weekly basis.
Okay.
And that webinar could be anything from learning how to use Matrix better, or professional development sessions on market insights, or whatever the case may be. So I try and do that on a regular basis. When I see something that interests me or something that I should sharpen my skills on, I tend to do webinars or keep up on my skills when things are slow like that.
Okay.
Again, my CRM upgrades. I'm always learning and trying to apply what I learn, because for the sake of learning, you're not going to apply it. Yeah, I'm guilty of that sometimes, but if we apply the things that we learn, then it's going to help our business. And then also networking, like being intentional with networking, I find is something that is easier to put in your calendar when things are slow.
Okay.
And I tend to try and capitalize on my networks and, add value. I also started a quarterly newsletter in a slow time. Yeah, so it was last fall, a year ago. It was pretty slow.
Yeah.
Interest rates were at their highest, I think, and
or the highest in a while.
Highest in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry, highest in my career.
Because at one time they were 19%. You know what our parents always say that, like when I bought my first house. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely hear that one before. But yes, when it was slow last fall, I did start a quarterly newsletter. So that's something that took a lot of, putting clients
on that database.
Yeah, the database, and then the figuring out what platform to use, and then to build it, and do different things. So I've kept that up quarterly. So it's tend to be something that I do when it's slow.
So you have a templated thing for that, and you just add your clients and your people to your database all the time, and send out that newsletter. Yeah, that's really cool. Mm-hmm. That's really nice. I do not send out a newsletter. That's okay. That's okay. Can't do everything.
And that was the other thing that I was going to talk about with regard to networking and client building in slow times is like, what is your natural ability? What do you like to do? Because I'm not going to do something that is not necessarily within my realm or comfort zone. Like, I like to add value through newsletters, because I'm providing market insights, I'm providing tips and tricks or home maintenance reminders.
So education is kind of your jam.
Yeah, I like that. And then I like doing something that's going to add value in the long run. But it's not something that outside my comfort zone either. Yeah. I may have to learn a new tool or two, but at the same time, I don't mind doing that kind of work.
No, you're definitely right. You have to do what's within your comfort zone, what you're good at, right? Mm-hmm. For me, I'm really good at one-on-ones. I'm really good at face-to-face. So throw me in a networking thing, and I'll talk your ear off about all sorts of different stuff. Yeah. But that's good, and that's who I am. So I'm not as great at doing the newsletters and sitting down and putting the information out there, but I have the information to give, and I would love to have a coffee and give it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So
again, it's your natural ability. What do you like doing, so that you do it regularly.
Absolutely.
And add value to your clients.
Yeah. 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 That is the key: is to do whatever you're doing consistently
and authentically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. It's like we're very simpatico. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. So. What else can we talk about here? So I do love that you take those slow periods and you're finding time to reconnect with all of your clients, right? Whether it be through your newsletters or doing stuff in your database and stuff like that. But I guess a quick check-in can always lead to like new market like new business, really, right? Okay, so Kim, I'd like us to share some personal stories. Tell me some behind the scenes story, if you don't mind, about a time where things didn't go as planned, because we all know that happens sometimes.
Yes, yes. Sure, I had a deal almost fall through in the spring where it was down to the 7-day cooling period in the condo, and the lawyer came back to my clients with some concerns, and the way they interpreted the condo documents was wrong. And so
The lawyer interpreted
the
it.
lawyer interpreted it wrong. So what had happened was there was a fee increase with the condos, condo fee increase.
Okay.
And it was already embedded within the cost, but they said that it wasn't. And there was another increase coming in the following year, at the year end of the condo.
Okay.
So they were gonna walk away. They're like, you know what? I really loved the condo. It checked every box. However, this increase is a substantial double-digit increase, like 12%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't think that math is right. I looked at that increase. I thought it was applied already. I went back to the condo board, got verification, pulled out all the stops with regard to interpreting the condo documents, talking with their lawyer and talking with them, saved the deal.
Good job.
That was huge, because not very many people have that much confidence to go back to question what the lawyer's findings were. But I knew for a fact that if I got my ducks in a row, talked to all the people that were involved, and then kind of like explained it more
Yeah.
to the lawyer, which was not a real estate lawyer, by the way. So again, you
There
can't
you
always
go.
tell your clients what to do, but to strongly advise using a real estate lawyer that do know a little bit more about
Yeah,
condo documents and the way things flow with regard to real estate transactions. That saved the deal.
Good job.
Yeah.
A lot of people would not have gone against a lawyer.
Nope.
And a lot of clients wouldn't have necessarily listened.
Correct.
Wow, that's impressive. So you obviously read or at least previewed the documents enough to already have known those numbers up
Yes.
front.
And I talked to the condo board about the increases because it was a pretty substantial increase, but it had already
Originally.
been done. Yeah,
Right.
it was already embedded within the numbers. So again, question everything. Like, don't let it just fall to the wayside without doing your due diligence, because, you know, it checked every box. They were happy, and they still are to this day.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I don't know if I knew about that, but good job.
Thanks.
Good job. Pat on back for Kim. That is definitely a good example of perseverance paying off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you definitely made sure that you got all your ducks in a row and saved that deal. That's not something a lot of people would have done. They just would have moved on to the next place and grumbled.
Yeah.
Grumbled all the way too, right? So, and you were in that 7-day cooling off period, so it was about to close too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, is there anything else that you'd want to add for our viewers?
Yes. When a deal is going down and you are out of, and you're in a mindset where it's a little bit of chaos,
Yep.
call your broker. Call your broker, because they will help you. I have called you on more than one occasion going, I don't know what to
Twice.
do, or in this scenario. But I think it's important to realize that if you have a relationship with your broker, that they have your back, and they're going to advocate for you to support you and your clients when you need to.
Aw, thanks.
You're welcome.
That's so nice.
It's true.
Oh, that's good. It's true. You should know, trust, and your broker. It's very important, right? You want them to have your back before you get yourself into trouble later on. So pick up the phone and call them. That is our job. Okay? Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's true.
All right, so before we wrap up, I just want to summarize a few things, okay? All of this was about resilience. It was about relationships and value that you're going to give to your clients along the way, good market, bad market, and all the things in between. Doing your CRMs, maybe some newsletters, but just really being authentic with yourself, knowing who you are, and then adding value that way to your client. But there are some misconceptions. You don't have to close every single deal, and you do not, it's not always just, oh, in this market you're going to sell lots of houses, or in that market you're going to sell a lot of houses. So I think that those are things that we need to remember. You want to build reciprocal, meaningful relationships within your network, right? And you can always grow that network. So use those slow periods to level up the business, and away you go.
Absolutely. And here's our listener challenge. I think it would be great if our listeners did a time audit week to week and to find out what their 20% of activities are that are generating their business growth.
Good job. I love it. If you do that, we're going to put a time audit thing in the show notes below. So I think that you should grab that, because I know that Kim's done that, and she's even challenged us in the office to do that a couple of times. So we'll put that in the show notes. And if you do it, why don't you send us a note and tell us how that went? And if you have any, queries about it or anything like that, you can send a message to Kim, you can send a message to myself, and we'd love to help you.
Absolutely.
And guide you along those things. That's awesome. Okay, so thank you so much today, Kim, sharing all of your insights. I really appreciate that. Thank you, listeners, for tuning into the Lockbox. I hope that you found our conversation insightful and actionable. And I hope you really enjoyed this episode. If you did, I'd love for you to subscribe. Everything is below. You can also reach out to myself or Kim. Our social channels are also going to be below. Thanks again for listening to the Lockbox, brought to you by RE/MAX Professionals. I want you to remember that success in real estate starts with the work that you put in behind the scenes. You got this.